Hello, everyone. It's absolutely wonderful to be here with you today for this deep dive sharing session. Welcome to Empower Fantastic Life. Find your power, live without limits. Today, we're going to completely dismantle a myth that has likely held you back at some point in your life. We're talking about the myth of innate talent. We'll be looking at some truly groundbreaking research from Stanford University professor Jo Boaler, which is captured in her incredible book, Limitless Mind. You know, as a consultant, I see people constantly putting themselves into little boxes. They believe that some folks are just born with a math brain or a creative brain, and others simply aren't. Let's dive right into this and look at the hard science that proves your brain actually possesses absolutely infinite learning potential.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by debunking the myth of talent, explore how to rewire your brain's city grid, uncover the power of mistakes, champion depth over speed, engage in multidimensional learning, and finally, unlock your potential.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, the myth of talent, and specifically debunking this idea of the math brain.
If you've ever caught yourself saying, I'm just not a numbers person or I'm not naturally gifted at this, you are dealing with a false self-limiting belief. We are so culturally conditioned to think our intelligence is a fixed trait, kind of handed out at birth like a lottery ticket, but the research we're looking at today proves that the fixed brain is a total illusion. To understand why, we have to look at neuroplasticity. But let's strip away all that scientific jargon for a second. Don't think of your brain as a computer hard drive with a fixed amount of storage space that eventually gets full. Instead, I want you to imagine your brain as a dynamic, bustling city grid. Every time you learn something new, you aren't just saving a file. You're literally paving a brand new road. You're building new bridges, expanding the city, and creating fresh pathways. Your brain is a living network that is constantly under construction, and you are the chief engineer.
That brings us perfectly to section 2, rewiring your city grid, where we'll focus on constant growth. Because your brain is this dynamic grid, there is absolutely no such thing as being naturally smart or naturally dumb. Your intelligence isn't a static object. Even as an adult or well into your later years, your brain retains this phenomenal capacity to physically reshape itself based on what you ask it to do. Every single learning moment literally reshapes your physical brain architecture. Think about it. When you struggle to learn a new language or figure out a complicated new software at work, you are physically building new neural connections. So the absolute most crucial point here is that we must immediately stop labeling ourselves, our children, or our colleagues as untalented. When you drop those labels, you give your brain the permission it needs to start paving those new roads.
Moving right along to section 3, the power of mistakes. Here we'll cover keys 2 and 3 of Boaler's research, struggle and belief.
In most corporate environments, making an error is terrifying, right? It's seen as a giant red X from the boss, a huge symbol of failure. But neuroscience flips this completely upside down. Making errors and the struggle that follows is actually the exact moment your brain is growing the most. Think of learning like going to the gym. When you lift weights, your muscles physically burn, and that soreness is the literal sensation of your muscle fibers breaking down so they can grow back stronger. Well, a mistake is the exact same thing for your brain. It is neuromuscle growth. If you hold a fixed belief and think mistakes equal failure, your brain activity is physically suppressed. You essentially drop the weights. But if you have a growth mindset, if you truly believe you can improve, your brain activity sparks brilliantly when you make a mistake. Your belief literally dictates your brain's chemical and electrical response. It's fascinating.
Now we arrive at section 4, depth over speed, which tackles the 5th key of rethinking intelligence.
We so often assume that the fastest person in the room, the one whose hand shoots up first or who replies to an email in 3 seconds, is inherently the smartest. But that is deeply flawed. Rapid-fire thinking is a lot like fast food. It's incredibly quick, it satisfies an immediate demand, but it completely lacks nutritional value. True mastery, on the other hand, is like a slow-cooked, rich stew. It takes time to simmer, allowing all those complex flavors to meld together. Jo Boaler points out that top mathematicians and true innovators are actually very slow, deep thinkers. When we prioritize speed through traditional testing or high-pressure deadlines, we cause anxiety and we actually kill the space needed for that deep, creative, slow-cooked thinking.
This naturally leads us into section 5, multidimensional learning, encompassing keys 4 and 6, where we engage the whole brain.
Understanding a complex concept is a lot like trying to understand an elephant. You can't just read the word elephant on a piece of paper and truly comprehend it. You need to look at a picture of it, you need to hear the sound it makes, you need to describe its texture and measure its weight. This is multidimensional learning.
When you learn something new, please don't just read it. Draw a visual chart, explain it out loud to a friend, physically walk around the room while you're thinking about it, or look at the data behind it. By doing this, you're lighting up different neighborhoods in your brain's city grid simultaneously, and that creates a memory that is incredibly robust and almost impossible to forget.
Discover the patterns. Key 6 tells us that learning shouldn't just be about shoving isolated facts into a mental filing cabinet. It's all about seeing the connections. When you connect a brand new idea to something you already know, or you spot a pattern across different subjects, you turn fragile facts into a flexible, highly powerful web of usable knowledge.
Finally, let's pull all of this together in Section 6, unlocking your potential and applying these keys to our daily lives. This research isn't just an educational guide, it is a profound philosophy. I really want you to absorb this core concept. Evaluate resilience, not speed. Whether you're managing a huge team of employees or you're a parent raising a child, this is the gold standard. We absolutely need to stop measuring human potential by how quickly someone finishes a task. Instead, we must measure their grit. How do they react when they hit a wall? Do they embrace the struggle? Do they look at a mistake as an opportunity to build a new road in their mind? That resilience is the true marker of a limitless learner. As we wrap up this session, I want to leave you with a question to really ponder tonight. What is one fixed belief you hold about your own abilities? And what is one mistake you can make tomorrow to start rewiring that pathway? Maybe you think you're bad at public speaking, so go volunteer to speak tomorrow. Let yourself stumble and literally feel your brain grow. Embrace the struggle, knowing your potential is absolutely infinite. You've been listening to Empower Fantastic Life, Jaeger Empowerment Academy. See you next time. Bye-bye.